Hi there and welcome to episode 11 of Sit for a Spell. I guess I'm probably going to have to call this season 2. There's been about a 3-month break between our last episodes, for those of you who've been watching and noticed such things. I feel I owe you a bit of an explanation. A couple things happened. First of all, my coveners moved to a different city, so I no longer had access to the temple room there. So I have had to recreate the temple in my bedroom. So this is my working altar space now. This is actually a wall unit here going on, and this shelf pulls in and out. So it goes to show you that you can do this anywhere. When I'm not using this, what I do, of course, I won't do this now with the candles burning, but I put everything like so, and this cover goes over top of it, and you don't even notice. But the stuff on the top here remains all the time. So, yeah. The other thing that was going on is that my book's getting published. The Witch's 8 Paths of Power, a complete course in witchcraft and magic, will be published by Wiser Books in fall of 2013. And I had a November deadline that I had to get it finished by, so I put aside everything else to finish my book. So it's done. If you'd like to know more about what that book's going to be all about, just watch the other playlist on my channel called The Witch's 8 Paths of Power. I do a little focus on each of the different 8 paths that magic is done by, and it's kind of an explanation. And I also teach courses online or in person about those particular things, but those ones I charge you for. Alright, so what we're going to do today is, it's December, and it's flu season. So, on the suggestion of my friend, thank you very much, Blake, I've decided to teach you a little basic potions today. And what I'm going to do is combine magic and herbalism to make a tea which will ward off sickness. So, what I have here is my handy dandy cup. You guys will remember this from the tea leaf reading episode. And, of course, this is our working space here on our altar. So this is where we're going to mix our potion. And, oops, I just realized that I don't have my hot water. I'll be right back. What you do is you make a tea. Now, herbalism is an art that has been associated with witches for centuries, of course. And much of what they did was science. Not necessarily magic, although I believe the two are not mutually exclusive. I think they're basically the same thing. Magic is just science we don't understand yet. So, different herbs will have different magical associations, and most of them make sense based on their function, because every herb that's out there is good for something. So, most of the herbs that we're going to use today are associated with Mars and the Sun, and that kind of energy is designed to build up your body temperature. It also increases circulation, right? So these things tended to be associated with courage as well, because it make you feel all like you do when your adrenaline's pumping. And that has the added benefit of increasing your body's production of enzymes, which fights off illness. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take these various herbs. This is peppermint leaves. That's our first one. And our second one is ye old ginger. You can also do this with powdered ginger. And our third one is elderflowers. Now the other stuff you can probably access at the supermarket. Elderflowers you're going to have to go to an herb store for, or you can pick them yourself when they're in season. They are highly allergenic for those of you who suffer from allergies like me, so you may prefer to buy them, but there you are. And so what we're going to do is we're going to mix these in our teacup. And it's just like any other cup of tea. Now you can use a tea ball or a strainer of some kind or a cheesecloth, or they even sell little cloth bags now for tea if you don't like floaties in your tea. But in the herbalism course I took, they taught me that you know when it's done when all the little floaties go to the bottom. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a teaspoon of each into our teacup. That is the standard dose, by the way. For those of you who would like to make use of herbal medicine and don't know how much to use, the standard dose, unless they say otherwise, is 1 teaspoon of an herb per teacup, and 3 tablespoons per teapot. And that's a standard size teapot, not a little teapot like this, right? This is, you know, just a little thing. I'm talking your, you know, your grandmother's teapot, right? Okay, so we have our peppermint, and here's our elderflowers. Brought these from my shop, so they should be just about the right dosage. But, you know, it won't hurt you to take more elderflowers than it says. But some herbs, be very careful, because herbs are medicine. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it doesn't have an effect, and it can be toxic, especially when mixed with other things. Generally, if you're pregnant or you're taking any kind of blood thinner medication, assume you can't have it until you've talked to your doctor. Now we're going to add the ginger, and it looks to me like we have just about the teaspoon here in order to do this. My husband has volunteered to be my guinea pig for this, so I'm going to feed it to him. Oh, okay, so we're a little shy on the ginger. So we're going to put in what we've got. All of this will raise your body temperature. Now, I learned this particular recipe, again, from my herbalism course. I have a chartered herbalist course from the Dominion Herbal College in Vancouver. So it's a year of study. And so that's the scientific aspect. The magical aspect, mostly I get it from Cunningham's famous book on magical herbs, but it's stuff you pick up over time. Incidentally, if you like to read that kind of thing, Jarena Dunwich was my first experience with magical herbalism and witchcraft. And basically, if you drink chamomile tea and eat garlic, you're going to live forever. It's good for everything. So, now we have our herbs. We're going to mix them up together just to make sure that they're all nicely blended. You don't really have to do that, but it helps. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pour our tea over it. Now, the thing about this is herbs have volatile oils, like essential oils, which are the active ingredient in the medicine. So you want to preserve those oils. But, like everything else, they evaporate, especially when they're exposed to high heat. So, what you want to do is cover it with your saucer to keep all the various oils in it. Right, so, we're going to keep away illness. We're in the waning of the moon. So that's important for the magical purpose of your spell. And because we're waning, we're banishing, we're getting rid of illness, we're going to pour this in a Widdershins direction. Round and around and around and around. I'm dripping all over my pentacle, but that's what altars are for. And now, we're going to imbue it with spell energy. When working with herbs, I prefer to use my wand as opposed to my othame. And the reason why is because it says in Gardner's Book of Shadows, so Wiccan tradition, that the wand is for use when working with certain spirits with whom it would not be meet to use the othame. Well, where is it not meet to use the othame? I think the obvious answer made sense in Frederick Lamond's book, 50 Years of Wicca, which I believe I've mentioned before in the episode of Magical Gardening, and that is that nature spirits don't like metal. They don't like cold iron because they're fairies, right? The fae don't like that. So we use our wand, right? So when we're working with nature, we use a wand. So we'll stir it thrice because 3 is a magical number. And that, again, the banishing, the Widdershins direction. And then we're going to draw the symbol of Mars to invoke the Mars energy and also the energy of the sun. Because we get sick more in the winter than we do in the summer, we want that solar energy associated with our tea. And let's see, let the spell be spake in rhyme. I haven't made anything up. I'm going to swing it off the top of my head here. Magic in this herbal tea keeps sickness away from me. By the power of 3 times 3, as I will, so mote it be. And we're going to draw a banishing pentagram on it. And then that is done. And now we're going to steep it for about 10 minutes. That's, again, your standard steeping time for dosage when you don't know what to do with various herbs. And when that's done, I'm going to get my husband to drink it. And I'll let you know how that does over the course of the next couple of months or so. Now, I usually do a charm as well as a spell in these episodes. I wanted to show you how to do a cloven fruit, but unfortunately I don't have any whole cloves today. This is a tradition that I learned in a medieval reenactment group, the Society for Creative Anachronism, that I was involved in for a few years. I no longer have time to play, but I really enjoy that kind of thing. And what you do is, it's also called a pomander, is what it's sometimes called. And you take a fruit, usually an orange or maybe an apple, and you stick whole cloves in it, all around it, until it's bristling with cloves like a little porcupine. Now, the tradition in the medieval society that I was part of is that you give it to someone that you'd like to get to know better, and then they have the option of how they want to respond. It could be a hug, a kiss, a handshake, whatever, right? But the benefit of this is that it makes your house smell nice, and it distributes the oils of the apple or the orange in the air, which helps to ward off illness. Another thing you can do along that line is that you can burn rosemary oil or tea tree oil in a diffuser. The antibacterial, antiviral properties of those particular oils, when distributed through the air, will help to ward off illness, and it also will help illness not to spread when it gets to your house. You know how somebody gets a cold and then the whole damn household gets the bloody cold? The minute somebody gets a cold, well, okay, you feed them ginseng in this tea, and then you start burning tea tree oil in a diffuser. And that will, or rosemary oil, it also works, various citrus oils. I've got this neat little mixture here. It's made by a little local company called 3 Cats and a Broom. It's called Florida Water. It's her Florida Water mixture, and it contains rose water, essential oils of clove, bergamot, lavender, lemon, and orange, and most of those not only smell nice, but they are antiviral, antibacterial, and so they are associated with keeping negative energy away as well. That's why garlic is supposed to keep away vampires, right? Because it keeps away illness, it keeps away bacteria. It's an antifungal too, actually, so keeps away all kinds of nasty things. Anyway, you diffuse that through your house, or you could spray this spray around, which, you know, somebody comes into your store, right, they've got a cold, sniffling all over the place, I will spray this kind of stuff around to keep illness away, or rosemary and tea tree spray. And it will help illness not to spread. So I think that's it for Sit for a Spell today. Sorry that it's so short, but, I'm just getting back into it, and I will see you again in 2 weeks. Merry meet.